All right, here we go. So, welcome everybody to today's session of Multicloud Happenings. Thank you for joining us in the last week of March 2026. My name is Nathan Fuzi, and I'm joined by my good friend and colleague Vishal Patil. Vishal and I are product managers here at Oracle, focusing on the Exadata Database Service and Base Database Service, both in Oracle Cloud and in multi-cloud. For today's session, we're going to quickly cover what it means when we talk about multi-cloud, and we're going to talk about its unique benefits. And we're going to share the most recent Oracle multi-cloud service and region launches, and then we'll go deep on Exadata Fleet update, including a console walkthrough. Please use the Q&A function to ask questions at any time, and Vishal and I will do our best to answer them as we go and cover any remaining questions at the end of the presentation. Our safe harbor statement effectively says that our discussion today and any future plans or dates we discuss are not a commitment and may not be incorporated into any contract. If you have specific regional availability, service, or feature requests, please reach out to your Oracle account team or us directly, and we'll be glad to work with you and help you plan. All right, what is multi-cloud? Well, multi-cloud means Oracle has built partnerships with other leading hyperscalers, including Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, and AWS, to run Oracle Cloud infrastructure inside the partner data centers and to make Oracle database services available to their customers through their marketplaces. And the key aspects of this offering are the close proximity of physical resources, which delivers ultra low latency between the partner hyperscalers application services and the Oracle database services. And that low latency is really crucial when you're talking about business critical and mission critical applications. Another key aspect is the integration of Oracle infrastructure and services into the partner hyperscalers portal, APIs, and even native service integrations. And that enables seamless management and monitoring from within the partner hyperscalers portal. So whether you're deployed in AWS, Google Cloud, or Azure, you have access to an array of Oracle database services in the same cloud environment where your applications are running. And where maybe you're looking to deploy the latest AI models and analytics services against your business data. Now, the Oracle database services available include Autonomous AI Database, which is cloud native and fully managed, running on top of the Exadata platform. There's also the Exadata Database Service, which gives you the performance and scale, excuse me, performance and scale of Exadata, along with cloud automation, while still giving you full administrative control. The base database service offers a lower cost database for non-mission critical applications where you still need that full administrative control. The autonomous recovery service provides a fully managed backup solution that is fast and efficient, continuously validates your backups, and provides backup security and immutability. And finally, OCI Golden Gate gives you a fully managed solution for high performance data integration and replication across heterogeneous environments. So to highlight the unique benefits of Oracle Multicloud quickly, there's the fact that Oracle AI Database is a converged database, meaning that it supports all modern data types and workloads, including AI, OLTP, analytics, graph, spatial, JSON, and more. Now, being able to deploy a single database to support every use case simplifies architectures and deployments, and it means you can reuse your administrative skills everywhere rather than learning a new database for every application type. And then there's this extreme performance of Oracle Exadata, which is built for the largest and most demanding database workloads in the world. Exadata uses its unique architecture and intelligence to optimize data access and transmission so that it's extremely efficient as well. Exadata also provides extreme availability and scalability, being the only supported way to run Oracle RAC in the cloud, and with support for Oracle Maximum Availability Architecture for highly available and resilient architectures. Oracle Database on Exadata comes with advanced security capabilities, including strong always-on encryption, SQL injection protection, strong user access controls, and ransomware resilience. And of course, autonomous AI database with all of its automation and lower cost of ownership is only available in the cloud. And all of these benefits are unique and delivered at the lowest cost via Oracle Cloud and multi-cloud. So where is Oracle Multicloud available? Well, here's a current map of OCI and multi-cloud sites. This month, we launched Oracle Database at Google Cloud in the Europe West 8 or Milan region, as well as Oracle Database at AWS in the Europe West 2 or London region. And we also added service in a second availability zone to the AWS Europe West 1 Ireland region this month. To give a different view, here's a full accounting of the available partner hyperscaler regions for Oracle Database and multi-cloud. As you can see, we're making great progress in converting planned regions into live ones. And we're working hard to deliver these quickly with more updates to come. Here also is a full accounting of the services available in OCI and each of our partner hyperscalers. We're excited to have launched autonomous AI database on dedicated infrastructure on Oracle Database at Azure this month. So we're working to continue making additional services available. So stay tuned as always, and please let us know if you're waiting on any specific service or region launch so that we can prioritize our delivery. All right. Now let's move on to our main topic for today's session, which is Exadata Fleet Update. And for that discussion, we need to set just a little more context. So with the Exadata Database Service, there's a split between Oracle and you, the customer, in terms of management responsibility. You manage the database and everything inside it, as well as the virtual machine or VM that the database resides on. And Oracle manages all of the infrastructure up to and including the hypervisor where your VMs run. As part of your management responsibility, you perform updates and upgrades of the software for the portions that you control, namely the database home, the grid infrastructure home, and the operating system on the VM. Oracle provides cloud automation for these actions through the OCI console, the CLI, APIs, and Exadata Fleet Update. Well, then what's the point of Exadata Fleet Update? Well, it's to simplify these maintenance operations and save you time when performing updates and upgrades across a large number of resources as you have in a fleet. So even if your environment is small enough that you could reasonably perform these updates yourself, Exadata Fleet Update offers you the means to organize and automate these maintenance operations, including across OCI compartments and even across multi-cloud deployments. The service can save you time and give you fleet level visibility of update status, as well as the capability to resume and roll back at the fleet level. Exadata Fleet Update enables you to group update targets into collections that can then be updated together. So collections can be database homes, grid infrastructure homes, or guest OSs. And with those collections defined, you can orchestrate updates across the targets in a collection, and that allows you to streamline and standardize your updates across the fleet. Exadata Fleet Update has several key capabilities. First, it provides a central place to plan, run, view, and automate your updates each maintenance cycle. It provides a framework to consistently manage all of the actions that comprise the update cycle, and a place to monitor the status of those actions so you can see successful updates or roll back and retry if needed. It offers flexibility in how it applies updates, along with the ability to do rolling updates across nodes in a cluster, 50/50 or half and half updates, and even smart updates that are service aware and to make sure that they sequence updates across nodes participating in a service so that that service stays available. There's also a non-rolling update option if you just want to take an outage and complete the update as quickly as possible. And then there are other configurables like max session drain timeout and whether to ignore any missing patches on a target when the updates run. It allows you to schedule the entire maintenance cycle by supplying a scheduled start time for each step, or you can schedule just one action, or you can choose to run a specific action on demand. And all updates for grid infrastructure and database homes are done out of place, which makes rollback straightforward if it's necessary. And you can use standard Oracle published release updates, or RUs, and major versions, or you can use your own custom software images for the updates, as we'll see in the walkthrough in just a bit. Now, recently, we announced support for ExaDB stack collections, enabling you to combine the guest OS update and the grid infrastructure update into a single step. Now, this can save you a database restart to reduce the impact of maintenance. So as these two updates are run together, you can retry or roll back as a single operation if needed. So with a stack collection as a target, your update will look like the following. The database instance is stopped on the VM, and the VM OS image is updated and grid infrastructure is updated, and then the database is restarted. And this is as opposed to restarting the database after the OS update, only to have to restart it once more after the grid infrastructure update. Now, to see how Exadata Fleet Update works, let's walk through the flow. So first, you'll create a collection of targets. And these targets in a collection must be of the same Exadata service type. So think Exadata Database Service on dedicated infrastructure, or Cloud at Customer, or Exascale infrastructure. They must reside in the same OCI region and be of the same target type. So a database home, a grid infrastructure, the virtual machine OS, or an ExaDB stack. Next, you define a maintenance cycle for that collection, which defines your target version, the update method like rolling or non-rolling, and any other configurables. And finally, you execute the maintenance actions, either on a schedule or on demand. And once the maintenance cycle is defined and starts, it will execute the steps one at a time, creating a job under each step for each target in the collection. An Exadata Fleet Update captures logs for each step and target and shows you the status of each one and allows you to drill into the logs for any step and target. And Vishal will touch on this during the walkthrough. Okay, one last slide before we get into that walkthrough. I won't spend time here, but I want to call your attention to this list of resources. These will be available in the slide deck that we post on the Ask Tom site, along with the recording of this session as soon as we can make it available. And with that, I'll turn it over to Vishal for the walkthrough. Vishal?
All right, thank you, Nathan. Let me share my screen. Okay. Nathan, can you confirm if you can see my screen?
I see it.
All right. Okay, hello everyone. So I am on the AWS console right now, and I will click on the Oracle database at AWS. Oops, let me log in again. It just timed out. Okay, so we can, as you are probably aware, that we can search for Oracle database in the search console, search bar in the console for AWS, and go to Oracle database at AWS, and then click on dashboard. And this is where we will see all the resources which are created as part of the Oracle database at AWS. So that includes the ODB networks, Exadata infrastructure, Exadata VM clusters, autonomous VM clusters, and the ODB peering connections as well. Now for this Exadata Fleet update demo, what we are trying to show you is how you maintain the software, such as virtual machine operating system, grid infrastructure, and database using Exadata Fleet update for multiple environments at the same time, right? So let me go to OCI console for this particular Exadata infrastructure. This is a deep link to OCI console where it will take me to that infrastructure, that particular infrastructure. And what I can do is to go to the Exadata Fleet update, I go to the Oracle AI Database, and then you will see multiple services listed here. There's one of the feature for Exadata Database Service is Exadata Fleet update. Again, as Nathan mentioned, this is a feature which is included with Exadata Database Service. There is no extra cost associated with this feature. Now, before you create a collection, and then for that collection, you create a maintenance cycle, what you need to do is you have to complete some of the prerequisite steps so that the Exadata Fleet update can communicate to the VM clusters which are running on that infrastructure. And this is one of the steps where you configure IAM using the policy builder is provided to you so that it's easier to create the IAM policy and get started working with Exadata Fleet update. So here you specify the group you belong to. For example, this one I'm just giving test, and then the compartment, which is this one, that's where the Exadata infrastructure resides. So you may have multiple compartments and you may have Exadata infrastructures in multiple compartments. So you can add multiple policies so that the Exadata Fleet update can communicate to those resources in other compartments as well. So it will create this IAM policy, and you just, once you are done, so even the service access policy will do the same thing. And then you just review the policy and create policy. So once you create the policy, I've already created for my environment, so I don't want to create another one. But once you create the policy, Exadata Fleet update is able to communicate with the VM clusters which are running on your Exadata infrastructures. The next step is we want to create a collection. Collection is nothing but grouping the software target types in one logical entity. Now I'll show you and walk through the create collection process. So this is the collection name we provide. Let's say it's test. I provide the compartment for the collection where the collection would reside. That's the compartment for that. And then the collection type, as Nathan explained, we have different collection types. These are the software target types. You can have database software update. You can have grid infrastructure, guest OS, and you can combine guest OS and grid infrastructure in one stack update as well. So these are the collection types. Let's say if I select database software update, the next step you would do is select the cloud service. We have different deployment options for the Exadata Database Service. It could be cloud at customer, dedicated, and exascale, right? For the multi-cloud, dedicated and exascale are relevant. So let's say if I select dedicated, I select the current major version for the targets in my collection. And once I do that, I need to discover the target. So I go to the edit search criteria, and this is the compartment I select from where I need to find the targets, right? So in my case, this is the same compartment where I'm creating the collection, but it could be different for, in your case, you may have different compartments where these resources reside. There are other search criteria you can, you can go more granular and filter the targets based on the different search criteria which is available here. You can select a specific database release update, and you want to just create the targets based on a certain database release update. You can select, let's say, if you want to find out targets which are using a custom database software image, you want to just restrict to a specific infrastructure, you can do that. Similarly, VM cluster level, once I select the infrastructure, it should show me the VM cluster filter as well, right? So I can just restrict it to select targets from a certain VM cluster as well, or more than one VM clusters. Similarly, database home, unique name, collection name, those kind of things you can specify to create have the search criteria. And then I'm not going to run it now, but you will get the targets here, and those targets you add and create the collection. Now there are some advanced options such as you can create tags for your collection so that you can track them with the metadata. So for this console walkthrough, I've already created a collection. So if you can see here, this is the test collection I've created. This is for database software update for Exadata Database Service on dedicated infrastructure. Now, the targets I have selected, there are 3 targets I have selected here. These are the 3 databases which are running. 2 of them are running on the same cluster. If you see, this is the same cluster where these 2 databases are running. And there is one from this VM cluster. So I can add more targets, or I can remove some of these targets as well, if I decide to make any changes to the targets which are there. And when I do add targets, it goes through the same search criteria we talked about earlier. I can specify the search criteria. I can discover new targets and add them to the existing collection. All right, so the next step is creating a maintenance cycle for this collection. So we already have the list of targets we want to maintain, but we want to define what we want to do with that collection of targets. So when I create a maintenance cycle, I have to provide maintenance cycle name, and then I would specify the target database image, right? So let's say if you have targets lower than the recent RU, and you want to take all of them to the most recent RU released by Oracle, then you can select that. What you can do is you can use Oracle database software image, and you specify, okay, this is the latest one which is available for 26 AI. It wouldn't matter what is your source version, because it will apply the latest RU to all the targets in the collection. Another important thing to understand is if you have a gold image you create for your environments, you can use the custom database software image, and you can specify that database software image to apply the updates. So you don't have to rely only on Oracle provided database software images, but you can have your own custom database software image as well. All right, so I have, so once you select the Oracle database, the other options such as, whether you want to create a new home or use existing home. So as part of the maintenance cycle, when you specify that you need to go from the previous RU to the latest RU, or RU after that, after the previous one, then what you can specify is whether to create a new home or use an existing home. And then the maintenance method, which Nathan touched upon, is whether you want to do one node at a time, 50-50 rolling, non-rolling, or smart batch. You can choose one of them. And then while creating the maintenance cycle itself, you can specify when do you want this maintenance cycle to be scheduled, right? So it will schedule the staging of the software and the apply of the software, which should be at least 24 hours after your staging start time, right? So you plan it accordingly. You can specify the time for your maintenance cycle while creating the maintenance cycle itself. But if you decide, I don't know when I want to run the maintenance cycle yet, so you can leave these fields blank for now, and you can run those maintenance actions on demand. And then we enable the logging, and then there are some advanced options such as the maximum drain timeout, which Nathan talked about. The default is 600 seconds. Keep service placement, which means when the nodes are restarted or the instances are restarted, do you want to bring back the services wherever they were running from? So it will keep track of where the service was running from. And once the maintenance is done, it will make sure that those services are running from the nodes which were used earlier. Now, ignore missing patches. That's what Nathan explained. If there are any missing patches, it will ignore those. Force rolling patch. If there are some non-rolling patches, it will force the rolling patch for those patches as well. So those are the options you can provide during create maintenance cycle. I already have one for this particular collection, and that maintenance cycle is in the succeeded state. The target version is 23.26.1. And I will show you the different actions in that maintenance cycle. Now, as you can see, I specified some of the options such as create a new home for this maintenance. And then maintenance method I specified is one node at a time rolling. All right. Now, let's look at the actions. So once I create the maintenance cycle, generally what happens, you will go to the actions and you will run the actions such as pre-check, stage software, apply, update, cleanup, rollback. These are the actions which are available for each maintenance cycle, right? Now, what I have done is I have run the actions for this particular maintenance cycle. I started with pre-check stage. So even before staging the software on your VM cluster, we can run a pre-check. And then it failed for a few times for me. So as you can see, it will give me the message saying that, okay, what happened with the particular action at that time, why it failed, right? Or the other option I can do is if I want to find out if there is a specific target for which it failed, I can go to that action, go to the jobs, and then Nathan explained about, the pre-check will create job for each target. Now, this particular pre-check action failed because I did not have the IAM policy created, and I just ran without completing the prerequisite steps, and that's why I'm not seeing any jobs created for any of the targets. So it failed even before creating the jobs. The next failure is because I probably had a target which was failing, and this is the target which failed. And what happened, we can see clearly from this view log here. And I think it's basically because the required space on the VM cluster is lower than what the fleet update would require. So it required 11 GB because I'm creating a new database home for these updates, and the available space was only 2 gigabytes on that VM cluster. So for that particular target, it failed because of the space crunch. So what I did next is I removed that target instead of going and fixing the space problem. I had enough targets in this collection. So the next one I used, this is the one, and then it was complaining about same thing for other targets as well. I can quickly show you that. And then for these two, when it checked, it was complaining about having the space issue because it had available 10 gigabytes and then it required 11 gigabytes. So when I ran this pre-check and the previous one, there was some gap between the runs, and then it used some of the space, and the first one did not show me this problem, but the second pre-check showed me this problem. So running a pre-check is very important to find out the problems proactively in the actions. This one is succeeded. I had the 3 targets now. It created it did the pre-check for stage software for these targets. And there are some warnings, but these warnings are regarding, I can find out if I can find out quickly, but these are warnings, and some of these were for, here it is. So it said image is missing the patches for bug numbers which are present in source Oracle home. And we did the ignore patches for the maintenance cycle. So it's going to ignore those patches and apply the patch anyway. But if we decide not to ignore the patches, then it won't allow you to complete the action. Now, the next one is after you pre-check stage, you stage the software. That means it is pushing the software binaries and creating the new database home in the VM cluster. And the same thing happens for grid infrastructure home as well. It's out of place for grid infrastructure as well. And then we run again, one more pre-check. Once you stage the software, you run pre-check apply to find out if there would be any issues while applying the update. Now, in case of database updates, what it does is once the database home is created, it moves the targets from the old home, the targets which are part of the collection, it moves those targets from the old home to the new home and runs the data patch. And that happens depending on the method you chose, whether you want to do it in rolling fashion, so one node at a time, or 50-50 or non-rolling. So it can take care of those things automatically for you. And then the last step is the apply update. This is where it will go ahead and do the switch home for your targets. Now, one of the things I forgot to show you is for this one, pre-check apply, and it says needs attention. So there must be some warning. Whenever it says needs attention, there must be some warning with the action itself. It says that it's a good idea to run gather dictionary stats before you run the apply for this particular update. And that's why this warning is there. So when you run these, it checks when was the last time the gather dictionary stats was done. And depending on that, it will give the warning. So what you can do is once you find the results for your pre-check, you can log into the VM cluster, fix those issues, and then come back and run pre-check again or apply. And then the next step would be applying the patch itself. All right, so that's what I had to show. The one more thing I want to show is once you have the succeeded apply update, it might happen that one of the targets is failing, right? It might have some failure because of whatever reason. And then there are options such as, at the fleet level, what you can do is click on rollback. So all the targets will be affected by this though, right? So if you click rollback, it will take the targets back to its original version. Now this is for the fleet. Now, if you want to decide, just do it for one of the targets wherever it failed. Now, in my case, all of them succeeded. But what you will have is here you will have, revert, retry failed targets, or you will have rollback for those targets as well. So you get the options to retry the failed targets, or you can roll back those targets to the previous version. All right, so that's all I had to show on the console. Are there any outstanding questions, Nathan?
No outstanding questions. We can
Okay.
hang on for a minute or two to see if folks have additional questions. Just one reminder, so we have a number of links to resources, including the announcement blogs, as well as a link to the administrator guide for Exadata Fleet Update. There's a link to the OCI documentation for Exadata Fleet Update and a link to the API reference. All of those will be in the deck that we upload to Ask Tom after once we get the video processed for this recording.
All right.
All right. I'm not seeing any additional questions coming in. So I'm going to stop recording.